Blood started oozing out of the Statue of Liberty's head for no apparent reason. Cops used a wire rigging setup to hoist themselves up to check things out. They initially thought it was from a bird hitting it, but it ended up uncovering a crazy string of terrifying murders. The crime scene investigators swabbed the surface and then sprayed on some testing solution, and what they found next was even wilder. There were 12 different types of human blood on it. Inside the Statue of Liberty's head cavity, a security guard was killed. There was a deep knife wound on his neck that you could see the bone through, and blood was everywhere. The killer also took his service weapon. The guy who was with him the night before is still missing, and no one knows if he's alive or dead. The viewing telescope on the statue's foot was tied down tight with steel wire, and there was a pool of blood on the stand, which definitely meant something fishy was going on. John, who was super curious, dropped in a coin and looked through the telescope. There was a guy sitting across from him, staring straight into the telescope. John thought he was the killer, so he rushed over, only to find out he was a dead body. He'd been injected with some kind of anesthesia, which is why he was frozen in that position. When John unzipped his jacket, he saw a message the killer had written on his t-shirt. To catch the killer ASAP, the medical examiner did urine tests on both bodies. They found a sharp metal shard in the male victim's mouth, and the blood on it matched one of the bloodstains on the Statue of Liberty. The needle mark on his neck was from the killer using a tube to draw his blood, which the killer then splashed on the statue's head. Even more shocking, the wire tied to the telescope wasn't regular wire. It was an 18mm, about 0.7 inches, piano wire coated with a sulfuric tin phosphorus alloy, the kind usually used for the high notes on really expensive pianos. Just as the cops started getting some leads, a severed arm was rushed to the police station. Based on the cut marks, they figured it was sliced off by a propeller, and the victim was already dead when it happened. There was no sign of bleeding in the tiny blood vessels in the arm. After running the fingerprints, they found out the victim was the missing cop from inside the Statue of Liberty. 3 people were dead by then, and the killer said on the vest that 2 more were going to die. Clearly, those 2 security guards weren't part of the original plan. The cops had to catch the killer before he struck again to stop any more deaths. As the investigation kept going, the medical examiner found something new on the metal shard. After a bunch of careful checking, they realized it was a piece from a music box and put it back together. When the gears made the shard spin, it rubbed and made a sound, playing a tune that some composer wrote when they were 5 years old. A pianist had put that tune in a music box. But why did the killer stuff that part in the victim's mouth? The cops talked to the pianist, but when he saw the victim's photo, he said he'd never seen him before. He just said he'd lost the music box during a movie a year ago. He was talking really fast and left right after answering the questions, like he was hiding something important.